So I mentioned the fact that I was coming to a political think tank. In fact, it's one of the most significant, influential think tanks actually in the UK, and it's the Institute of Economic Affairs. And I'm absolutely delighted to have had this meeting today. We've just finished it. Few of us involved in this one, but Kieran has very kindly stayed behind. Kieran, you are actually doing the stuff with podcasting here. What would you say is one of the key things that you've learned about podcasting with what you're doing with this project here?
Well, first of all, it's a lot more difficult than we first thought. Trying to narrow down a specific audience takes a lot more thought than we originally thought. So it's a bit of a learning process. We're trying to knuckle down who we're trying to communicate to, and then we're going to wrap the branding around that and see where it gets us.
And what have you learnt just even playing with podcasting in the sort of political space? I mean, you're trying to influence opinions, right? Is that the goal, sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah, we're trying to change the climate of ideas. We aren't shoving ideas down, people's throats. We want an open and interesting discussion from all angles. But of course, yeah, to change ideas and to challenge ideas is definitely the aim, yeah.
So you need to get that into the podcast. You need to get those ideas discussed, and that's the core content that you want to get in there, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, how we do that, are we going to talk about something topical in the news and just cut it down? Are we going to spend an hour or 45 minutes on something or longer and in-depth? It's something we've got to think about.
Why did you want to do podcasting? I mean, you could do YouTube, you could do almost any kind of social media, you could go and tweet. Why did the organisation think we want to do some podcasting?
Well, I mean, we've got a quite a big digital output, so the podcast is one arm of it, but we think the podcast is important because we believe that there's a certain audience that do listen to podcasts. Now, it is a broad church, and we've got to find which one we're appealing to. But the podcast is useful. People commuting, going to work, people who, especially now we're all working at home, don't want to look at the screen anymore and want to listen, to something else. So I think the podcast is definitely important in the digital output that we have.
Kieran, thank you so much for staying for a few more moments.
This
is really, really appreciated. It has been so interesting talking about this, and I will share more of the lessons that I'm learning and what I've learned as well about the political world from this meeting today in the podcast very soon as well.